Welcome, everyone, to episode 142 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 1H1D. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, well, Tom, is the Wandering Village worth our time?
Do we let it keep wandering away?
Indeed. This game is the Wandering Village, a game preview game, and it is developed by Stray Fawn Studios. And this game, like I said, is in game preview, so it didn't technically come out yet. It is available for us to try on Xbox Game Pass, though. And I played this on the PC, and it was a meager 1.13 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, what about you?
On the Series S, it clocks in as 1.5 gigabytes.
Wow.
Still very small.
Small in relative terms, of course, because,
yes,
back in the day, that would have been huge. But
yes, but when other games we're playing are 100 gigs.
Yeah. But what kind of game is this?
I put real-time strategy. Maybe you have a different idea.
Well, I just added, what kind of game is this? It is a real-time strategy game. So, I mean, I just, I added, it's like when you say, using an acronym, but then using the last word twice in it.
Yes,
yeah, that's basically what happened there. But also, what about that game loop?
I put down, direct your villagers to harvest resources so you can build increasingly complex structures.
That is true. I wrote down, gather materials to keep your villagers and Onbu, aka a kaiju, alive.
Yes, you have hinted at the second level of the game.
Yes,
Speaking of levels of the game, let us talk about what we liked about this game.
Yeah, I gotta say this game has an interesting look to it. But first off, I do have to say, I don't know if you saw this in your playthrough, but the intro of this game, like once you boot it up, is a special message from the developers. They have a nice little picture that say, thank you so much for playing this game. This is in game preview. We're a small team and all that cool stuff, which is, I thought that was like cute. And I was like, oh, there it is. That's the team that built this game. And this game is quite cute, I will say, in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and then it inspires us to not say terrible things about it. Because there's a face to the studio.
Yeah. We just try not to be mean to them, but we try to be fair. I think
we try to be balanced, and we always start by saying nice things. We'll get to the bad things later.
Yes, absolutely we will.
After we've forgotten about the cute picture.
Yeah. Yes. And I gotta say, the one thing that I was trying to think, because the way that the game is, it's a 3D world, but the villagers are all are all in 2D.
Yes.
And hand drawn. But I was trying to figure out what they reminded me of so much, and then I realized it reminded me of Where's Waldo. Like the way that they were drawn had that Where's Waldo look to it.
It totally does. I didn't think of it when I was playing the game, but I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of neat. Interesting way to do things in this real-time strategy game.
Yeah, I think that art really does work. Like it's interesting because the game is 3D and you can zoom around and look at things in 3D. But when you get up close to it, it's like, oh no, all these guys are flat.
Yeah.
And their little resources are flat and everything, a lot of the art assets are these 2D things.
Yeah.
So a lot of time and energy went into making them.
They sure did. What did you like here about this game, Tom?
Okay. So unlike some other real-time strategy games, I appreciate that this is kind of task driven. So what I mean by that is you say to the game, I want this task done. And the game goes and says, who's available to do the task?
Yeah.
And sends that person off to task.
Yeah.
Normally, when you play a real-time strategy game, you have to find the people who are just loafing around and go, hey, get to work.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that the game kind of takes care of that for you.
Yeah.
It was a pleasant surprise.
That's definitely true. I wrote that also kind of in a different way about how the villagers are self-sufficient. But the idea is that if you assign them roles, in these particular jobs, they will all just kind of do their thing, and you can assign priorities to jobs, like you mentioned, like everyone, like you mentioned, there's tasks and stuff like that. So setting priorities, you'll see a bunch of villagers just go and help. If it's like drop everything kind of thing, it's kind of cool to see that. And it's like you're kind of being that middle management or whatnot, and just like watching your workers kind of do their things. I thought that was kind of neat. Or maybe a CEO or whatever, but yeah, you get the idea. One of the two.
I think generally the controls are not bad on a console.
Wow, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, you'd think that they would be, but I think it definitely helps because it is this kind of task-driven.
Yeah.
Like you go over to the mill and say, I want this built, and then the game kind of figures it out for you.
Yeah.
Because really the mousing around is the stuff that's the hard stuff, right? When you don't have a mouse. But you don't really need to do that here.
I'm curious, though.
It kind of reminds me of doing, like how we played the Halo RTS, and it was like this works fine, surprisingly well on a controller.
Yeah, I was just curious though with how, because there are times where you have to select a bunch of, like, say you're chopping down trees, you have to select, like, at least on the mouse and keyboard, you just highlight them, drag and select them. How does it work on the controller? Is it basically the same thing? You hold a button and it has, like, pulls up a.
I never selected a bunch of things at once. I just went over to the rocks and said, this rock, this rock, this rock.
Oh, okay.
Now, maybe there is a way to do it, but if there is, it didn't teach me how to do it.
Interesting. Okay.
But speaking of teaching you, I thought the tutorial was a pretty good entry place for somebody new to real-time strategy games. Like if you had never played a real-time strategy game before and picked this up, I think the tutorial was good at walking you through, the various management aspects of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like there was just like nice touches to the tutorial, I thought. Like even literally having that little progress bar of how far you've gotten in the tutorial was nice. I didn't like, it was an extensive tutorial. I got to say, I went through that. I went through the tutorial mode. I didn't finish it in my hour.
Yeah,
and
ditto.
Oh, okay. So but like it took the time to kind of walk you through the entire process and like how things work in a very chill environment. I thought this game overall was just very, very chill. I don't know how the real game is, but if it's anything like the tutorial, I'm like, all right, that's kind of neat. So
I've got to mirror that sentiment. My note here says, music and mundane tasks make this game feel very zen.
Yeah.
And then under that, I put, my hour went by very quickly just by focusing on the tasks that needed to be completed.
Yeah.
So the game kind of presents you with a to-do list.
Yeah.
And you just keep checking off the boxes.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, an hour's gone by.
It really did. It was very, it did a good job of that. And I thought also the mechanic of, or like, we touched on it earlier, but being able to like zoom in and out of basically the village area to then you realizing it's not just a village. You're on top of this Onbu, this giant creature that is traversing this planet or something. And it zooms out even further and you see the path that it's taking. And I think what's interesting, I got to a part where you can have villagers that will go out to that world and collect resources and all that kind of stuff. And you have to also manage your own boo. You have to manage this creature. Like you have to give it commands, tell it to stop, tell it to walk or run if it gets to a particular environment. And then you have to feed it too, eventually, because it has its own thing that you have to do, pick up the mushrooms that are growing off of its back that you will feed it or something like that. So it's, I don't know. It's very, very interesting. Very interesting mechanics, I think.
I'll be honest that I never really messed with Onbu at all.
Okay.
I was very laser focused on my village.
Yeah.
But I did see that I could zoom out and do stuff. But the game, at least the tutorial, wherever I was in it, never made me, go and deal with Onbu. So I guess maybe I didn't get to that part or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, good. But now are we good here? Are we getting to the part about Our dislikes?
Yeah, let's draw mustaches on all the faces of these people in this picture.
Yes. Yes. I got to say, as extensive as the tutorial was, there were a couple of times where it was telling me to do certain things that I didn't think was clear.
Yeah.
There was what was one thing that I got stuck on? It was priority. It was actually the priority tasks. I was a little confused about how to set it because I thought I was doing it, but then I realized that you had to like select an item on the map, like in your world, and then click in it, like click the little pop up, and then select the priority there for it to be ticked off on that task list. So there was like things like that here and there. I was just getting a little frustrated about. That was one thing. I thought that the normal mode was super slow, which I had it cranked up at 4x, like right after I figured out how to do that. So that was good because otherwise I'd be waiting for these guys to be chopping wood and putting it into the resource containers and stuff like that forever. So
yes, I could tell you that playing it at normal speed, which is what I did.
Yeah.
The game moves very slowly. Now, that is good while you're getting your handle on the controls and things like that. You don't want to, run right off a cliff. But I agree with you. Like, it's good that they have the ability to speed up the game because it moves at a snail's pace.
Yeah. Or an own blues pace at this case.
Or an own blues pace, yeah. Or a lazy villager's pace. But I feel like I played an hour and didn't get anywhere.
Okay.
And part of that is because I never left the tutorial.
Yeah.
Part of that is because I was playing on, normal, which is slow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do want to mention, though I liked the tutorial for the most part, I agree with you that it leaves some room for improvement. I think a fast overview of the screen layout would have been helpful.
Yeah.
Because the screen layout is very busy.
There's a lot of icons.
There's a lot of stuff going on your screen. A lot of stuff in your face all at once. And I would have really liked, normally I know this is contradictory. I hate when I get bombarded with a ton of information. But this time I got bombarded with a ton of information and no explanation. I would have rather have gotten this does this, this does this, this does this, this does this. And if you wanted more detail on it,
Yeah.
Just a quick, this is what all these things are. We'll explain them later when they're more important or something.
Yeah.
But just so I know where things are so that if I was looking for something specific, I knew where to look for it.
It's true. I will say though, overall, I think where they laid everything out wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad. Like, I think it actually was pretty good. Because, for the most part, everything you're using to construct or deconstruct is on the bottom row. Yeah, and then like your kind of tasks and stuff like that are going to be on the top right corner of the screen and et cetera. And like any sort of notifications, so to speak. But for sure, there was like a lot of icons that I was just like, what does this do? Like, okay, he's idle. Like, how do I get this idle villager to start working? And so then it's like hunting every the worker place or like a sawmill or whatever to see like where can I put this person to work. So it was that kind of thing, working through that. I don't know if you got to the part with the poison.
It doesn't sound familiar.
Okay, well, there's a point in the tutorial where my Onbu is like, traveling through this planet, and there is an area that has poison clouds, stuff like that. And that causes there to be a growth of poison trees in your village. So you have to then you have to take them all out. The problem was a lot, like there were some trees that were hidden behind other resources or whatever in the world. And you can't, like, while you can zoom in and out, you can pan the camera, you cannot rotate the camera. So like there are things that you don't see unless it was literally like playing Where's Waldo, because finding these plants, and it was a little frustrating for sure.
That's what happens when you lack the third dimension.
Yeah, that is
can't
true.
Rotate around a flat image.
Yeah, but it was just a bit frustrating because the thing is, these if you don't get them in time, they will just continue to multiply and potentially like kill your village. So just something to be aware of.
Okay, so there are dangers and threats.
Yeah.
As the game progresses.
Did you get into the choices, like where like there'd be like random villagers that are asking for help? You can either like help them or tell them to piss off.
Yes, I feel like something like that happened.
Okay, so there's those kind of choices that happen. I guess there are other like world events that happen throughout the game too. You know, it's a little stressful at times. Can be, but not too bad. I think. Again, it's a tutorial mode.
Yes, I will say. And this is probably a criticism of all real-time strategy games.
Yeah.
But for me, there's a lot of things to manage and to track.
Yeah.
And like, it's not really what I want to do with my free time. Like, if I'm going to need to open up a Excel spreadsheet and start writing things down in a Google Doc or something, just to navigate the experience, like,
agreed.
It feels like work. Yeah. Now, to some people, work is fun.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people.
Yes, work is where you work, and Tom wants to not think about that when he's at home playing his games. So
I want to be a Jedi or something,
right?
Not try to manage a city.
Exactly. So,
speaking of managing a city, this game could do with some urban planning. There's no guidance at all when they tell you to place a building about like. Maybe where you should place it, you know?
I mean, to be fair, they do tell you how, like, if you place, like, there are indicators if a place cannot be put in a certain area, like, because, like, if you're building a farm, right, exactly. If you're building a farm, even like there's the berry collector hut or whatnot, where it'll tell you its efficiency based on how close you are to. So like they did a decent amount of
job. That I appreciated.
But I'm with you though in terms of I am a terrible planner. And so in that way, like laying out my village so that like I can have perfect roads and stuff like that. Like it was just zigzags everywhere for me. So it was really bad.
It's one of those things that I'm sure if it was our third village, we would be, you know, it's like, okay, well, I know I'm going to need to build a farm and I know I'm going to need to build this and I know I'm going to need to build that. And you can plan ahead. But just like all the great old cities of the world, that's not how old, you know, the cities were originally built. They're just kind of, now we need one of these. So where's free space to put it?
It's true. It's true.
But then it doesn't look good and that bothers me.
No. So, the other thing, I thought that I never had enough resources, especially early on when I'm trying to build these like upgraded material, like upgraded buildings and such like that. As you're continuing your research, it was a constant struggle, and it was just again like, oh, like to your point about like managing all these different tasks. It's like, okay, now I got to focus these people on gathering wood for me or gathering stones. So it was
it definitely impacts the speed of the game. Because you have to kind of pause this, you know, all your research and all these other things that you're doing just so that you can get the resources together so that you can move those things along.
Exactly. All right. I'm good with my dislikes here. Tom, do you have any other?
Yeah, I'm done laying into the game. We can talk about other things, other thoughts.
Enough mustaches here. Let's go to our other thoughts.
I've drawn one on every face. Time to move on.
Yes. How long to beat? Says, I don't know how this is possible, but the game's not complete, but you can beat this game in 12 hours.
It's a Boulder Dash.
Boulder Dash indeed.
You can't beat a game if it's not done being made.
Yeah. I don't know. Someone's trolling us out there and how long to beat. But this game does have Xbox Cloud saves and it is play anywhere capable. So I did not try this on mobile, but it's, you know, I'm sure you're going to need a controller or something to play because touchscreens would probably be pretty difficult with this game.
You'd be touching everything. You'd be touching things accidentally left and right.
Oh yeah. Any thoughts for you, Tom?
I have a couple little notes about the developer. Other games by Stray Fawn Studio include Niche and Nimbatus. I've seen Niche before, I think in a Humble Bundle or something like that.
Okay.
They are a small 10-person indie studio, and they're located in Zurich, Switzerland. And they recently expanded into publishing so they could support other developers on their journey. So
that's cool.
They sound like pretty good people.
They do, and they take great pictures too. So
yes, I appreciated their Dragon Ball references and their poses.
For sure. But Tom, we got to find out: is this team from Zurich, is their game enough to keep it on our respective hard drives, or stop it with another Ombu? I don't know.
Let them fight.
Let them fight.
It's a stretch. It's only 1.5 gigs, so you could forget that it was on there. You know what I mean? If you're trying to offload other games, you know, if you need to make space for other games, this is not the one that's tying up your hard drive.
No.
Unfortunately, though, this game is just not for me. It's the style of game, almost certainly. I think that if I could play it with the mouse and a keyboard, it would have been better.
Okay.
I think I would have had a more favorable opinion. But honestly, by the end of my hour, I felt like I had enough. I'm ready to play something else.
Okay. Fair enough.
How about you, Chris?
Well, this game had charm for sure. And not just the photo, but I got to say, this game, like I said, had that Where's Waldo art style mixed with the 3D world and the Zen music and stuff like that. I definitely want to at least finish that tutorial. I think I'll give this game at least another hour. It wasn't stressful in as a game like a StarCraft or a City Skylines or something like that, where that was
you're not under attack.
Exactly. Well,
I guess poisonous trees.
Yeah, because we don't know if there's evil villagers or something like that. That's the other thing I didn't think about until just now. So that's why
maybe your Anbu gets up alongside another Anbu.
Oh my gosh, what if there's kaiju battles, Tom? What if there's kaiju battles?
They jump off of their Anbu onto your do pirate ships? I don't know.
You just piqued my interest even more now to see if that's the case.
Look, the game's not done, so there's time for the developers to put it in.
If they can do that, sign me up so we can have battles and stuff like that. That would be really cool. But all right. But those are our thoughts. Let us know what you think of this game. Follow us and say hello on Twitter at TC1H1D. Shoot us an email at TC1H1D@outlook.com. Check out our next streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/1H1D. And if you're watching this on YouTube, send us a comment down below. We'll try to respond. No promises there at this point, but it's fine. 1H1D is part of the QTB network. And if you like not just podcasts, but any other cool gaming content like blogs, and hey, we might even have some merch for you to grab. I don't know, our Game Pass journal, something like that.
Hey.
But check out all that stuff at quitthepill.com/network. Now, Tom.
Yes. Before we leave, there is an important final step, which is also the first step of the next episode.
Yes. And that is
the cyclical nature of our show.
What a concept, right? We got to find out what we're playing next, and we're going to hit that surprise button. So here we go.
Always nervous.
Okay, Tom, I'm going to ask you this because you're a Star Wars guy.
I am a Star Wars guy.
And have you played Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga?
I have played many a Lego Star Wars, but not this most current one.
Wow. Okay. So guess what? We're playing that.
It is eligible.
It is eligible. So Tom and I will be playing Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. And we'll give you our thoughts about that. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning to this episode, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.